Hi, we're Just Got Played, and we are gaming through the alphabet. So this is our 7th video, gaming through the alphabet. What does that mean? So we are going through, starting with A, all the way through down to Z, and we're talking about our favorite published tabletop game that starts with that letter, and also the highest rated one on the BoardGameGeek website. So this is our, as I said, our 7th video, and this one we're going to be covering STFU. I mean STU. Just
we already
those 3
did
letters. And if you missed any of our F videos, or any of the other ones, I've got them linked in the description of this video. So feel free to click on those and watch those. And as we release more videos, I'll because we've got at least 2 more coming after this one in this series, I'll link those down below as well. But all right, I'm going to turn it over to our MC, Erock.
Hello, welcome. Excellent. So I'm sure everybody knows what STFU does mean. It means so true, fabulous you. I know that because people say it to me all the time. I'm very flattered. Thank you very much.
You're number 1.
Thank you very much. Yes. All right. So we're going to start out with the S. JJ, Jam, you lead us off tonight. What is your S game?
Okay, so hold on. All right, the judges said I can't break the rules this time, so I'm going to stick within the rules and stick with the S. So my runner-up is obviously Scythy. It's a great game. As my runner-up, it is not my number 1 S game, although I do like Scythy very much. The side for those of you, I have seen it spelled Scythy before, so. I always think that's funny when somebody is like, oh yeah, that's good. You're new to games. Keep up the good work. But yeah, that's my runner up. Great game. Played through the expansion. Loved it. Need to play all through the expansion. Always loved the pieces. I loved it the first time I played it, even though it's not for everybody, but still a great game. That is my runner up. But my number 1 game is one game that has been around for a while. And it's got a little resurgence now because the legacy version is coming out on Kickstarter next year, and I definitely went all in. I got all the promos. We're up to like 42 promos now as the levels. I don't know if anybody else has been paying attention, but my S game is Star Realms. I picked Star Realms because hands down, that is probably the game I've played the most of because I have a mobile app. My partners love playing it, so we're going through and got some more work for a certain someone to do a little editing probably and put it up on the channel. Some playthroughs, going to go through all the sets. There's a lot of them. So it's been around for a while. I messed up because I didn't pick up the expansions when they were on sale a million times. So now I have to pay like almost full price for something that was probably like 80% off at some point. But yeah, Star Realms. I love the space theme. I don't really like Hero Realms, which is the second version, because I'm not into the whole fantasy theme. Love my spaceships, love my bases. I will play the mobile version over and over again, especially the arena mode with all the different rules. So yeah, Star Realms, real simple. I have it in like a little box over here. I don't even have the regular box at all. You put 4 people in a game in that little box and you just jump in and play. Started out, so you had like Dominion, then you had I think Ascension came next, and then Star Realms came out. Maybe I don't know the specific order, but they just kept it really simple with just having a trade row, and then you had bases and ships. So you kill your opponent or your opponents before they can kill you, and that's pretty much it. I just like it. That's a real simple deck builder, real simple concept, and I can play it just about anywhere. Star Realms.
Yeah, you mentioned 42 expansions and a Kickstarter and all this, but if you want to get just basic Star Realms, it is cheap and small, and you can start there because it's a great experience on its own.
I agree. It does something that's rare, which is a single deck builder that works really well. So
yeah, really well. You play it like twice, you remember all the cards, so that's it's great.
Indeed. All right, excellent. Star Realms is our lead-off hitter today. And from there, we're going to move on to Lloyd. Lloyd, what is your S game?
My S game, I'm going to do like JJ, and I'm going to give my runner-up because it was neck and neck between these two. Mainly because I still own one, and the other one I don't. But I don't own the other one because I couldn't get any of my groups to play it outside of the one group that I got it and played with all the time. So my runner-up was Sentinels of the Multiverse. I still own that one. and I really like that one. I think I actually like that one more than Champions, even though they're roughly the same game. But I didn't pick it because the one, and I still regret selling this one, but I think I sold it to a good person because it was being sold to a teacher that was starting up like a board game club at his middle school or high school, and he bought a bunch of my games that I didn't want anymore. And I hopefully went to a good home, but the game was Smash Up, and I had like, I don't know, a dozen of the expansions, and so Smash Up is from AEG. It is what they call shuffle building, and you basically take two decks of two different factions. So you have like alien in the base game, you have like aliens, ninjas, pirates, zombies, wizards. You take two of those decks and you mix them all together, and on your turn you are basically playing cards. You have minions and you have actions, and you are trying to break bases. So bases, you put out X amount of bases depending on how many players are in the game, and when you put your minions on there, it adds their value. So they range in value from like 0 to 8 or 9, depending on the monster or the minion you put out. And each base has like a power on it that sometimes triggers at the end. It triggers while you're there. Those kind of change up how the game plays. But you're trying to get it to a specific number, and you're looking for a particular place on that number. So first, second, or third typically scores. However, some of them break it up and only first player scores, or sometimes second player scores higher than the first player. So you're trying to find the right time to break the base, because they each have a number they break at. So the biggest problem that I could never get past with any of the other groups that I play with is that they say it's too random. The game is super random. And once you've played it a dozen or so times, you start to really see that it's not very random, and it's almost like magic, right? You're picking two factions that you want to put together into this deck that you think are going to work together, so that you can combo them off of each other and do some like really busted, crazy combos. And that's actually in the rule book. Like it says, if the rules don't cover how it works, go with the most broken way you can interpret it. That's in the rule book, right? So the game is, it's not meant to be taken super seriously, but I played it with a group at work. We played it. There was 4 of us. We played every day at lunch, and we played every day at lunch for like a year straight, every day. We didn't miss. And partway through, one of the persons that we played with was a programmer, and she was very into tracking stats. So she actually made, and I just lost it, I don't know where it is anymore. I think she took it down finally. She had a spreadsheet on Google that basically tracked every faction and who played it, so we could figure out what the best faction overall was. And I had, like I said, I had like a dozen of the expansions. So that was my pick, Smash Up. And I'm very sad that I sold it, because I bought the big geeky box to hold it all in, and it's set on my shelf. Once I brought it home from work, because that's a separate side story, but once I brought it home from work, I couldn't get anybody else to play it with me. And I'm very sad, and I'm probably going to buy it all again just to torture myself with no one to play it with, just because I really liked it that much. So Smash Up.
Cool. Wow. You guys are going with games with like a bazillion expansions.
Yes, love it.
Doing it.
So I've only ever learned how to play Smash Up. I actually did not get into the game, so that's as close as I have. But you get it in there and you actually come out, we'll get it on the board. I'll play with you. I mean, wait.
Do not invite me.
I will play Smash Up with you. Sorry.
You're going to smash up?
Smash Up board game. I will play Smash Up board game. Yeah. I will smash up. I mean, yeah. Mm-hmm.
That game's famously, what's the word, anachronistic. It's like dinosaurs versus Star Trek and things like I'm sure that's not actually true, but it's like that, right?
Well, they have a Star Trek expansion that's not Star Trek, but they do have a Star Trek expansion. And they have a James Bond expansion, and they have a Marvel expansion, a superheroes expansion. They've done, like, they've mocked pretty much everything.
Whatever your thing is, they have one. Indeed.
Pretty much. Just, if you're watching this, don't get the Cthulhu expansion. It does not fit with the rest of the game, and unless everyone is playing with a Cthulhu expansion, it sucks. It's the worst. I would never buy that one again. It adds so much garbage to the game that if no one else, if you're the only one playing with it, you're gonna lose. You're gonna lose. It's impossible to win. So don't play with it. It's unfun.
I remember one year they were like, the publisher was like, hey, sign up for our newsletter and we'll send you a Christmas gift or something. And then they sent everybody a sheep.
Sheep, I had it, yes.
For Smash Up, yeah. So there is everything, including the sheep.
Okay, awesome. So Smash Up is our number 2 pick for this evening. Steven, why don't you tell us what your S game is?
Probably not a big surprise because I talk about this game all the time, every chance I get. And that is Steampunk Rally. And Steampunk Rally works really well for my specific group because it's one of those high player counts, simultaneous play games. It's got tons of dice. So you roll the dice and then you try to decide what I'm going to do with these dice to, power my machine. But also, there's a drafting phase where you take cards that you build your machine with that you're racing around this track. And, and you have to make those decisions. Like, am I going to draft this card to use it to get cogs or dice, or actually put this piece on my machine? Do I want to try to armor up my machine so it withstands hazards on the track, or am I just going to blast through those and lose parts of my machine? It's just, there's a lot of chaos there, but it's controlled chaos, because you got dice rolling and you're doing stuff with the dice and pieces falling off or whatever. But so, Steampunk Rally, always enjoyed that. I have the new Fusion version, but I haven't actually had it hit the table yet. So looking forward to doing that sometime. But you can't go wrong with the original version. And if you like steampunk, this is just sort of dripping. Like, the artwork is just really cool if you like steampunk. And, and it gives you background bios of all the inventors. They have a ton of inventors in there too. So that's a nice little historical bit in there. There's just a lot of those cool touches that take a game from a fun game to like a really awesome production that you want to keep experiencing. So I see a lot of that here from Roxley. So there you go. Steampunk Rally.
Babe, we'll have to try that one. That sounds like something you might enjoy. I have a feeling you have not played any of the 3 aforementioned games. Why don't you tell us what your S game is?
Ooh, so my S game is my favorite. Well, maybe my second favorite. It's tied for my first favorite game. We'll say that, of all time. It's a game where there's no downtime, so you don't have that gripe. There's lots of dice rolling. So if that's your bag, then go for it. You can roll lots of dice in this game. And there's lots of nerdy space info in the rule book if you like space. And this game is space. So in Space Base, you have, I think it's 12 cards that you could, technically it's, you start with 12 cards and you roll the dice and you activate, you can choose. Say you roll 2 6-sided die, and you can choose to either take each die individually and activate those sectors individually, or add the sum and then activate that sector. So obviously the 7 through 12 combinations are much better. You get better stuff if you combine them, but you might find that if you do the dice individually, like maybe you get 2 coins that way, or you can get a coin and a money regeneration the other way, and you just have to decide which way is better for me. But the cool thing about it is there's no downtime. So when I roll the dice for me, it's a lot like Machikoro. When I roll the dice for me, they work for me, but they also work for everyone else. And everyone else looks at their cards and they decide, do they want to take the 2 die individually, or do they want to take the sum? The only thing that's a little different when I roll the dice for me versus the benefit for other people is, as you're buying cards and upgrading your kind of tableau, not really, but as you're upgrading your sectors of cards, you take the cards out from the slot that they're in, you flip it upside down, and you tuck it behind the board. And then anytime anyone else rolls the die, you take that benefit instead of your upfront regular cards benefit. And so it's a little bit different that way. So you're trying to build it so your strategy may vary wildly from a 2-player game to a 4-player game, because in a 2-player game you're rolling the dice 50% of the time and you're going to be using those upfront cards 50% of the time. But in a 4-player game, you're only using those upfront cards 25% of the time. So you might change your strategy a little bit based on the player count. But it's just a really fun, quick, lighthearted game. There's not a lot of downtime, which is nice for me because I don't like downtime. I'm definitely that person that will get out my phone and start looking at it if I have too much time to just be down because I can't handle the boredom. But Space, it's a great game. I love that game.
I know you love that game too, babe. I love that game. It's very close to making my S here. It just almost missed the cut. But I agree with everything that you said. Everything that you said is spot on. It's a fun game. It escalates quickly all of a sudden, like halfway through. Like halfway through that game, you look around, it's like 2 points, 4 points, 1 point. And then like 10 minutes later, somebody's at 22 points. And it's like, whoa, what happened? Because, to get to 40 basically ends the game. And so that's what I'm saying. Like halfway through the game, it's like everybody kind of builds their little engine. And then all of a sudden, it starts kicking in with the points. It's a cool little game. We play a lot. Good choice, babe. Have you guys played Space Pace?
Oh yeah, Space Pace is great. Well,
awesome.
High player
five
count,
of us?
simultaneous play.
Yeah, shocker,
Awesome.
right? Yeah,
Excellent. Well, I'm going to roll right into mine then, obviously, because I am the last one here. I am incredibly, indeed, thank you. I am incredibly confident that I'm going to overlap with the geek here, just because it's been in the top 5 as far back as I can remember. And my S game is Star Wars Rebellion. I absolutely love this game. Much like Steven's game, if you've been watching us for a while, this is probably no shock to you. I love Star Wars Rebellion. Anytime I get a chance to talk about it, because it falls in one of these lists in the right year or letter, I talk about it. It's basically the episodes, what is it, 4 through 6? 4 through 6 in a nutshell, with what's the other one? Rogue One thrown in, kind of. So it's like that whole world of universe of stuff going on in Star Wars. You can play it 4-player. It's BS 4-player. It's like you take half of the people and I take half of the people and we play together. It's a 2-player game. Highly recommended for 2 players. If you like Star Wars, it escalates it. It's such a great game. You're basically playing 2 games. Like Empire is basically just trying to build everything up and go crush the Empire. And the Empire is just trying to stay alive. This is a cat and mouse game. You're trying to find their base. They're trying to stay hidden just long enough that galactic support gets strong enough to overthrow the Empire. So both sides are incredibly tense the entire time, because one side's like, I gotta find him. And the other one's like, they're so close. The whole time. It's a long game. It's very themey. It's very into the Star Wars world. I absolutely love it. Star Wars Rebellion. And Steve, validate me.
Yes, absolutely. I will validate you on a personal level, because I have played this game one time at a con. It's really good. But also, of course, yes, it is BoardGameGeek's #1 game, Star Wars Rebellion. And, it's interesting because I think about this game. I think you could probably retheme it, right? It could be the French resistance fighting the Nazis or something, but I don't think it would work. Technically, it would work, but I don't think it would work. Like, what makes this game great is that Star Wars IP, you wanting to experience that universe, that, the Empire versus the Rebels. So yeah, I think it's a good game system, but really it's the Star Wars that elevates it. I in my opinion.
Yeah, and if you know Star Wars, it just makes sense, because you're like, I'll send Chewie on a mission, and then you're like, I'm gonna send, Guido after him. It's like you get the whole theme, you get the whole stories that it makes. It's really cool. Okay, anyhow, that's gonna wrap up our S. We're gonna move right on into T. I'm gonna do the bumper. So I'm gonna go first in this round because I went last in last round, and I'm pretty sure I'm not gonna cross over with the geek. And that is going to be Twilight Imperium 4th edition is my letter T game. I love Twilight Imperium. Now, I don't play it that often. This is not a game that you break out every weekend. You're lucky to play this 2 times a year, honestly. But when you do, it's glorious. It's basically also play with 6 people. Come on. If you're only going to play once a year, play with 6 people. I mean, come on. But basically, this is 4X, kinda. 4X giant space opera, epic, ridiculous, evening crawling into early morning experience. All right, there are bigger and grander games out there, but not that most people will ever have a chance to play. For most people, this is the big epic experience that you will ever play as far as a board game goes. And I'm not telling you to run out and buy it. because you'll be lucky to find 5 people that actually want to play it with you and spend that time, like 8 hours some Saturday night, really trying to get into it. But I am imploring you, if you ever see a chance to play it, jump in and play the game. It's fantastic. It is galaxy domination on a galactic level with a bunch of different races who have different superpowers and build ships and throw them each other and try to conquer planets and win the objectives as they come out, which are usually about blowing somebody else up. And at the end of the time, you have a great story and you'll remember it forever. Twilight Imperium.
You are not lying, babe. I'm just gonna jump in here and say I have played this game half a time.
Yeah.
Maybe three quarters of a time. And I will never forget that. And it's largely because if you have been, or if you went, now you missed your chance, sorry, but if you went to Dice Tower Con back when it was a thing, it's always been the running joke that like everybody knows that towards the end of the con, the late night, they turn off the AC in the convention center and it gets really, really hot. And so the night that we were playing Twilight Imperium, just so happens they turned off the AC. And so we were all dying. We were dying so badly that we snuck through the service exit in the room, and we found these like industrial refrigerators, and I just pressed my body up against the industrial refrigerator for the coolness of the stainless steel, because it was so hot that we actually quit the game. And I don't quit games. I will make every person sit at that table until they're ready to claw their own eyes out, so that we finish that game. But we abandoned it. And I will never forget that night that we played Twilight Imperium, and I will never play again.
And it's especially funny because you were determined to finish that one game so that you could say, I played this whole game once and I never had to. And we had to throw it in because it was too hot.
Too hot. I wanted to be able to talk so much shit about that game. I feel like I can't talk shit until I play a full game of it.
True.
So I still can't say anything about it because
don't worry. I'll invite you. It's okay.
Yeah. I think we all definitely have. If you've been playing board games enough, you have to play a game of Twilight Imperium. I mean, everybody has a story. Like that game for me is my friend's birthday game. The only time I see like his group of friends is when the 6 of us get together. It's like, oh, hey man, it's MC since last year. Time to play some Twilight Imperium. So it's like everybody has a story about Twilight.
Everybody has a story. That's why it is my tea game. So I'm going to move from me. Let's go to Steven. Steven, what is your tea game?
Okay, so my tea game is Terraforming Mars Ares Expedition.
Okay.
So this was a tough one for me because I like Terraforming Mars. So I, and I've probably played Terraforming Mars more than Ares Expedition, but I'm catching up. The thing about it is I like Terraforming Mars, and I also like Race for the Galaxy, and I feel like Terraforming Mars Ares Expedition sort of gives me the best of both worlds. I get the Terraforming Mars experience when I play Terraforming Mars Ares Expedition, because, well, I'm terraforming Mars, right? I'm raising the oxygen level. I'm raising the temperature. I'm putting out ocean tiles. I'm doing the kind of things that you do in Terraforming Mars to sort of push towards the end of the game. And I'm building a tableau of cards, right? For all the different projects and stuff related to Mars. I don't miss sort of the milestones that you have to fund and all that in Terraforming Mars. I don't miss that part of the game when I play Ares Expedition. I mean, I don't mind playing with it Terraforming Mars, but I don't miss it in Ares Expedition. And then on the flip side, with Race for the Galaxy, you've got this thing where you're deciding what phase you want to activate each turn, and you get a bonus for being the person that chose a specific phase. And then if nobody chooses one of the phases, it just doesn't get activated. So Race for the Galaxy does that. Ares Expedition does that. Race for the Galaxy has cryptic symbology that is hard to teach new people. Terraforming Mars Ares Expedition is easy. It's easy to teach new people. It's easier to teach than Race for the Galaxy. It's easier to teach than Terraforming Mars. It plays in half the time of Terraforming Mars. That's all you're doing is you're selecting, this is the phase I want to do. And then you're whatever phases get activated, that's what you do. You know, I'm going to activate these cards I have down, or I'm going to put build this specific type of thing, or I'm going to build that specific type of thing, or I'm going to research to get new cards, or, you know, whatever. You know, it's got a very basic flow to it, and you just do what it says on the cards and push towards the end. So really fun game. I wouldn't say it's completely replaced Terraforming Mars or completely replaced Race for the Galaxy, but I just feel like every time I'm going to play one of those other games, I'm sort of like, maybe I should just play Ares Expedition instead. So yeah, it is now my new favorite T game.
Interesting. Okay. All right. Move on. I have a feeling we may have an argument later. So let's move on to JJ. JJ, what is your T game?
My T game is, let me see here. It is No, it's not. Sorry.
I see Terraforming Mars behind you.
Is it there?
It's sitting right there.
What? Right there. It's Ares Expedition. Yes, I have it. So yeah, we played it for the channel. Well, we played for the channel to do a review. And I saw it on sale. I had to buy it. Yes, I feel the same way. Although I do miss my milestones. I can't do without the milestones. Oh, love the milestones. And then, of course, the different board, too. That's the only thing I was thinking, like, when you were talking, how can Ares expansion copy that whole having a different board, maybe different abilities for the oceans or everything? But anyways, so Terraforming Mars is not my T, so I do not cross over with anybody. My T is an oldie but a goodie. I played it a couple times and then I downloaded the app. It is a great game, oldie but a goodie, very simple, very, very nostalgic for me because it's kind of the genre of like TV show. I love anime. So if you guys got that hit, my game is Tokaido. I love Tokaido. So it was great as the base game, but then they came out with the expansions and I loved it even more. So you're just going on a journey in the typical Japanese just journey type thing. I mean, they've made a million movies and TV shows and animes about it. You're going around, you're choosing which of the little places you want to stop, and then you get a special thing. It's just basically walking and getting victory points. How do you want to get your victory points today? Do you just want to get a bunch of money? Do you want to make pictures? Do you want to, sell your stuff to get more food? I just love the game because every time you go through it, the places don't change, but depending on who you're playing with, the game changes. Because some people just like to race to the end and then get the highest amount of food, make the best meal, and then get their victory points that way. But I like to take my time. So it always depends on somebody else who wants to take their time with how my game changes. But I loved it as the board game, and then I downloaded the app, and then I play that with people. So that's always interesting. It's really easy with the app because everything just gets added up for you, which is great. Tokaido, I love it. It's very, very nostalgic for me.
I have to do my annual Tokaido rant here. So I love Tokaido, by the way. It's a great game, but I see this show up all the time. People are talking about, relaxing games because the art is just sort of beautiful and the art does seem sort of peaceful, but this is a cutthroat game.
Yes.
Right? You're trying to get, you're trying to build that panorama first and people are stealing the thing. People are jumping to the inn and stealing your meal or, putting money in the temple and you got to fight with them over that. It's just like people act like this is such a peaceful Zen game. I'm like, bullcrap. This game
it's not. It is a worse game. So it's always great when you play with somebody new because it's like, it's such a fun game. It's like, wait till I take your little picture, then you'll be mad. It's always that halfway point right before you do your second stop where everybody's like, hold on a second, you keep taking my stuff. I'm like, yes, I do. Yes, I do. It's like, why do you jump ahead so fast? It's like, you'll see. I'll see. Just wait for my turn to come because who goes last goes first. So I'm sitting there waiting, and then they get there, and it's like, wait a second. There's nowhere else to get a picture until I eat. It's like, yes, perfect. So yeah, I love that little trap little thing that's going on. So you just, you jump ahead and you take it, and everybody else realizes their mistake way too late. That's all. This is it's great.
So Tiffany, do you like this game too?
No.
Because it's too mean?
Well, no, I do actually like it. I don't think it's mean at all. That's the thing is like, I actually do like it. I just don't think it's mean because I see that leisurely, like very laid back game, but I think it's a lot of who you play with. And the spirit of it. Like, I don't play with a super cutthroat competitive group. So no, they're competitive, but they're not out to get blood. They're not trying to people just because that's what they want to do. They're not trying to, I'm going to get my points by just handicapping you. You know, that's not what anybody's trying to do. I find this game super leisurely and just like, I'm one of those people that brings it to the table when it's like, we need something pretty chill to play around afternoon.
Yeah, no Care Bears on my table. At least I changed them into the bad guys. I forgot the name of it again.
Don't lie, you killed them all, didn't you?
Yeah,
that's why
there's
no Care Bears at your table.
Just left a little trap in there. I'm the one that flips. I'm like a Care Bear at first, but then he goes back and he flips his little stomach symbol, and it's like the bad guy symbol. It's just great.
Oh, babe, it's like your upside down things.
The
little
yes. Exactly. I 100% agree with you, Steven. This is not a carefree game. It is very cutthroat, and I love it every single time.
All right. Excellent. That is another excellent tea game. Lloyd, what is your tea game this evening?
So I'm going to pull an Erock here, and I'm going to choose a game that starts with the. For my tea.
No. Mine started with L. That's a different language. That counts.
Is it the big one, El Grande?
This is the big one, the US version. No, the teas were difficult for me because I played Tokaido and didn't care about it. I played Terraforming Mars and don't like it. I played several other tea games that I just don't like. And the only one that I could settle on after looking through a bunch of games is I just looked to my shelf to see what I had. And the only tea game I have sitting here is The Thing, Infection Outpost 13 or 31? 31. Yeah, 31. I always want to flip it because 13 sounds more devious. But if you go back and rewind all the way back to my ABC video, that one, my favorite B game was Burke's Gambit. And this is a similar game to Burke's Gambit in that it's a social deduction game. And I think another social deduction game that I really like, but is almost impossible to get, is Battlestar Galactica. Except the entry level for Battlestar Galactica is very high, because if you're a new player and you get dealt a Cylon, you don't really know what you should be doing and when the best time to reveal yourself is. And then even if you're not a Cylon, sometimes you just don't know what to do on a turn that's not going to make you look like you're a Cylon, because you're like, I'm going to go over here and do this. There's a whole game inside the game on that one. The Thing takes that same type of stuff. It has the same type of intrigue, the same type of social deduction, and it's even got similar card play in that you're submitting cards face down to the leader or the person's turn it is to complete some mission. But it takes out all of the ancillary actions that you have in like a BSG, right? Like you're not having to go jump in a ship and fly around and shoot stuff, and you're not having to make decisions as the leader on, how far you're going to jump or whatever. So there's less room for doubt. There's also a lower level entry for the game with getting the same feel, and it's also not as long as BSG. And I know you can get Unfathomable now. I haven't played it, so I don't know how that stacks up to BSG, but to me, this kind of fits the same thing. And then it has like a little, a lot of the missions are resolved with dice rolls. So sometimes the game, sometimes the Thing player doesn't even have to do anything. Someone's just really terrible at rolling dice or pushing their luck and not using their power when they should to re-roll those dice. The game can go sideways because they didn't roll the Yahtzee results they needed. But I think if you're a Thing fan, there's a ton of just thematic element to it that stacks it up. And it was out of print for a really long time. It just came into print like at the end of last year again. But if you like BSG and you want something lighter to play with, it's a little bit more gamey, not gamey, like party game-ish. It's a step up from Burke's Gambit because it's not as fast. There's a little bit more to do, but it's not quite at that high entry level as a BSG in terms of just jumping in. You don't have special roles and weird things that you're doing. It's just it's a much easier teach. You're submitting cards, you're passing checks, and then it goes on to the next game, like the next player's turn. So each turn you're kind of given, the game flips over a card, and that's your mission. You have to choose who you want to take. The game tells you have to take X amount of people. It'll split up those people into different colors. So you have to have like one of each color to go, or only reds or whatever. And then you go do the mission, and you just go, it's three stages. And at the end of the game, if you haven't figured out who the thing players are, you have to escape on the helicopter, and you can win or lose right there, depending on how good somebody's played the thing. Because if you bring even one thing player on the helicopter, you lose. So you can leave humans behind, you just can't bring any things with you. So that's my pick for T. It was really the only thing I could pick. Not to say that's not a great game, because it is, but that's my T.
I have a note from the judges, and you did not pull an Erock. The thing is definitely a T game.
No, I know. I was just leaving with the.
I got a question. What if you're a Kurt Russell fan? Should you get the?
If you're a Kurt Russell fan, oh yeah, I think they have his likeness in there. I mean, it's not photos from the movie, but it's all art.
Yeah, I have a thing with BSG, because I feel you. Very much beginner game, not so much. Hidden Agenda, it's okay. Unfathomable, just a little note, is very similar. So it's pretty long as well, and there's a lot going on. Just so if anybody's not played it before.
Oh, and the other thing with the thing, right? Like most people won't play BSG above like 5 players. The thing you can play up to 8 people because it's super fast. Like there's not like a lot of downtime on your turn. It's just, arguing amongst who you're going to pick. It's kind of like the Resistance mixed in with BSG, honestly, because you're choosing who you want to take with you on each mission.
We just played the thing, but I think we played a different version because we went to different rooms where we did different things. And
that was the Kickstarter version that came out delivered last year. This is the Mondo, which is now they're with the OP, but it's this version. Well, you'll see. I'm gonna pop up pictures. I don't need to pull it out.
Indeed.
But yes, the one you played is actually more akin to BSG, where you have to actually.
Yeah, it was long and involved. Yeah.
This one is not. It's very party game-ish.
Understood. Cool. All right. Been waiting for the argument. Babe, tell Steven why he's wrong. What is your T game?
T. So T, this is my this is also tied for my number 1 favorite game of all time. I have 2 favorite games of all time, and this was easy. I went through, when we were making these lists, I started with my automatic, okay, those are my favorites. And so STU, I was done, before I even started my list. That's how much I love these 3 games. So my T game was everybody's favorite, the much loved, I don't care what you say, Steven, you're wrong, the much loved Terraforming Mars.
I like the game.
The whole kit and caboodle, the whole shebang, all 4 hours or however long it takes to get through the stupid game of Terraforming Mars. I love every second of it. I insist on drafting when I play. We have to draft. I want it to take as long as possible. I don't care what cards you deal me. I'm not going any of the bio type strategies because I just can't wrap my brain around it. And I never win this game because I often neglect the awards and the other bonus points that you get, the 2
milestones and the awards.
Yeah, the milestones and the awards. Yeah. So I usually lose this game, but it's just so much fun to draft your cards and build your engine and get the combos and just try to, terraform as much of Mars as you possibly can before everyone else does. I super love it. Best game in the world, tied with Space Base, of course, Terraforming Mars.
But you could lose Ares Expedition in half the time.
Yeah, that's actually a bad thing for her. She doesn't want it to be shorter.
No.
Wait. Do you play with all the expansions?
No.
They probably would make it longer, right?
Yes. Preclude makes it. Venus makes it like an hour or two, even longer. It's so annoying, but Prelude's good.
Don't tell her that. Don't tell her.
Yeah, don't get the Venus expansion. You want the Prelude. Get the Prelude because you get extra corporations.
Yeah, we usually play with
Venus.
Prelude and the corporation cards that come in the main box anyway. Kind of.
Okay, yeah, get the Elysium and Helios.
We have the boards as well. Yeah, we have the giant box with all the three.
If anybody hates you, they will get you the Venus expansion because they want to make your life horrible.
She wants more. She wants the legacy experience where you terraform Mars in real time.
Have you ever played Terraforming Mars where you start with everything at 0? Do you play?
Yeah, I did that. I did that once.
Woo! I'll never do that again. But that's what it says. If you want a really long game, start everything at 0, and that's exactly what Venus does. It just adds to the length of the game. It's like this is horrible. Yeah, I'll never play that again. I need drafting, and I need everything to start at 1. Oh, completely different.
It's funny. We played Terraforming Mars Ares Expedition. I think generally she thought it was too short, and I thought it wasn't enough like Race for the Galaxy. So it was like two completely different spectrums there. Anyhow, those are some... Oh, wait. What about the Geek? The Geek agrees with...
It's a good thing that they publish 4,000 board games a year, so we all get something we like. But in this case, BoardGameGeek likes Tiffany because there's a crossover on Terraforming Mars, of course, one of the highest ranked games on BoardGameGeek overall.
Yep. This is a really strong list for really good games. Okay, excellent. That is S&T. Now, I don't know everybody's picks, but for me, U was one game and a whole lot of other games. So it is entirely possible we might all talk about the same thing. Well, probably except Lloyd. And so why don't we start there? Lloyd, what is your U game?
Uno! No. To be honest, though, that's I think the only other U game I've played. I couldn't find any. Like I went and looked at that list and I was like, I haven't played any of these. So the only thing I can possibly pick to fill the hole for you is the Unlock series. That's the only thing I can pick.
That's a good choice. Good.
So if you haven't played Unlock, it's essentially like a non-destructive escape room in a box. You can reset it and pass it on to somebody else, but you can only play it one time.
That's a problem.
That's true. Some of them they want you to play over and over again.
Yeah.
So
oh, really? Which ones let you play over?
The Wild West one.
It's like if you didn't win, do it again.
Oh, the one on the train?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
exactly.
okay, see, that's the best one I played, I think. And we won. I only got in like halfway through the game. We did it at Dice Tower, and I came in halfway through. And yeah, I could see where they were trying to swerve you with that one, but I was like, no, it's definitely this person. And I was just the loudest voice at the table, so they chose it, and I was right, so I never had to play it again. So yeah, I guess all the ones I've played, I suppose if you fail, right, like you could play it again. I don't know, but they come in 3 different levels: level 1, 2, and 3. The level 1s are typically for like kindergartners, I feel. The level 3s are for people who like to make wild guesses or who are like IQ of 300, because I can never figure out, they have such leaps in logic that I can never figure out, even though once they get the answer, I can't figure out how they got to the answer without knowing the answer already. And the level 2 seem to be like that sweet spot. So I guess if I had to narrow it down, it'd be Unlock level 2s only, because level 1s seem too easy and level 3s just frustrate me and groups we've played with.
Do you know what level the Star Wars one is?
Don't they have a 1, 2, and a 3?
I think
I thought all the big boxes came 1, 2, 3.
Because it's 3 in one box.
Oh, okay. I played one Unlock game. I played Squeak and Sausage, and I thought it was absolutely horrible, so I just discounted the whole series. But maybe I shouldn't have.
Yeah, plus they did come out with a whole bunch of different themes. There's, like you said, Star Wars now. There's all kinds of little like triplets. Sorry, Lloyd, go ahead.
Oh, no, I was just saying they're hit or miss, like the games. I got my wife specifically. I got the Wizard of Oz one because I thought, oh, she'll like this. She'll sit down and play it, and you don't really have to fight the time limit. Like you can just play it to play it. I didn't realize it was a level 3, and it was like we didn't even get close. Like they give you an hour. We were going like 3 hours in, and we still hadn't figured it out because it was just ridiculous. And I've never been able to bring another unlock into the house because everyone hated it and never trusted me again after that point. So I play them at another game group. We'll break them out and play them, but the level 3s have always just been a nightmare, and level 2 soon to be like right in that sweet spot. They make me feel clever, but not like frustrating.
The one that I played just had hidden numbers. Like you just had to look in the picture to find.
That's basically in all of them to a
are they all like
lesser
that?
extent. I mean, it's
It was
not
probably
all
level
hidden
1.
numbers, but I'm sure there's a couple of cards in every one of them. If you look hard enough, there's a number hiding that you're supposed to flip a card somewhere.
I think that's the most basic part of the series is the hidden numbers. It's the part that I'm the best at, so I always feel really proud of it.
That's true. She's like,
okay.
Oh,
well,
yeah.
I'm back to discounting this whole series then because I don't enjoy that.
No, it's so
here's
bad.
one we did, and one of them because they make you use a phone app, right? And one of them was one that was set in like a prehistoric world and had dinosaurs. And one of the things that you needed to solve required you to listen to the drum beat that was playing in the background music that they had in the game. Except the background music, even at full volume, was so low that like we kind of figured we needed to figure out like the music, but we couldn't figure out where the notes were because we could barely hear them on the phone at full blast. And that's what it was. It was the drum beat in the song, and that was playing a specific rhythm that we could then map to like a puzzle to figure out the lock sequence or something.
I had that same problem with an escape room in real life. Like you could hear there was a thing and we knew we needed to code the thing, but none of us could really hear it very well. It took us way too long to actually just hear it versus figure the puzzle out.
So
they mix up the puzzle. So if you go in expecting to just look for numbers on cards, you're gonna probably fail pretty quickly because that's like some of the earlier ones. They keep getting more complex with what they're doing and like using augmented reality and looking inside the box and the back of the box. They start to include a lot more of the stuff to make you think outside of the box.
Wow. Yeah. There's 2 games that if people bring out to the table, I will immediately leave. One is Cards Against Humanity, and second is Unlock. If you bring those out, I leave. That's it. Oh,
it would be a good series, I feel like.
I hate it. I don't do escape rooms either, just to let you know. That's my little Lloyd rant. I hate escape rooms.
Now I know how to get JJ to go home. All right.
Yes, exactly. If you bring that out, I'll just leave. I'll be like, see y'all later. I hate being, no, don't time me. I hate it.
okay, excellent. From Unlock to Steven's choice for the letter U, which is Steven.
Yeah, it's funny that you mentioned Uno, Lloyd, because that probably is my most played U game. I mean, it's probably one of my most played games. I played a ton of that when I was a kid. Sure, why not? But no, I'm not going to pick it as my favorite U game. I actually am going with a party game, though. And this one is, there was a party game, and then they made an ultimate version of the party game. So it's Ultimate Outburst. So if you have never played Outburst, basically your team has a category and then a timer, and everybody just has to blurt out words that fit in that category, and you're trying to check them all off as like 10 of them or how many ever are on the card. It's a little difficult for me to play now because I have one from like the, 90s or something. So it's sort of dated. It'll be like tennis stars, and people can start naming tennis stars all day who weren't even born when the game was made, right? And I also remember there is one in there which is like games or something, like popular board games or popular board games for kids or something. And one of the ones on there is like Ultimate Outburst Junior. It's like they stuck an advertisement into the middle of their game. It was so annoying. But I love this game, and that's basic Outburst. But Ultimate Outburst also has Reverse Burst, where you start getting the clues, and then the sooner that you get the category based on hearing the clues, the more points you get, or points or movement, I guess. And then the one that I like the most, which is the last one, which is where you bid, right? It's like, ice cream flavors. We could get 7. And then the other team has to say, fine, you get 7, or we're raising you to 8 or 9 or whatever, right? And I think that's the best way to play the game. But it's a great party game. I don't break it out very much anymore just because there's, in my gaming group, there's people of all different ages. My set's just old. I really wish I could get like, hey, can I crowdfund a new deck of cards for Outburst? Like, do they make a new version of this game? Like, can I just buy that and get new cards? I don't know, but it's like a game show, right? It's just a game show you play with your friends. It's fun.
Cool. Excellent. And that is Ultimate Outburst, not just Outburst.
Yeah, because you get 3 ways to play, not just one.
Ultimate. Awesome. Okay, so now we're going to go with the other 60%. JJ, why don't you tell us what your U game is?
All right, so I too have an ultimate version of a game. It's called Ultimate Uno. No, there is an Ultimate Uno, and a little thing about Uno. Somebody likes their Unos. So I'm actually a collector of very specific Unos. This deck right here, bought it for $20, and right now it's going at 100.
Whoa!
Yeah. So love letter and Uno. I love collecting the random ones. Have you played Uno Flip? That's a good one.
I've heard about Uno Flip.
I have Uno Flip. I have the Zelda, and then I have this one, and then there's also an Uno Smite version, where you play 4 players and each player has a different Uno power. So yeah, there's a bunch of different Unos. I was going to pick Uno until I came up with one, doing a little little search there on the BGG. And I was like, oh, I actually found my U game, and it is Underwater Cities. I forgot I had played this because I played it twice right after I played Terraforming Mars. So I was like, Terraforming Mars, but then you're underwater building a city. I mean, I was like, all right, I'm hooked. The same person that brought Terraforming Mars to the table is the same person at Underwater Cities. I'm like, this Mars, Underwater Cities, same thing, almost. You have different decks a little bit. You have different spaces you can go to, but you're on your little board, you're building domes and building different little power stations to get different resources. And then when you do the income phase, you get all I love it. I love Underwater Cities. I love the fact that you have different end game scoring on your board. You're going and getting all the different things. I also like the little take that part where somebody takes the action that you wanted to do. It's like, So that part I like too, taking somebody's action, and then you have to do like the less good space to get the stuff. Paying for all the different cards that you have to build your little tableau, and then doing the little points ways of doing that with all little dome pieces, all the little bits and everything that you have on the little tunnel tracks and everything, and flipping those over. Okay, yeah. So Terraforming Mars, Underwater Cities, great game as well.
Excellent.
Needs expansions.
Yes, because the one expansion is mainly just double-sided boards. So babe, what do you think about that?
I think Underwater Cities is the best U game ever made. It is Terraforming Mars underwater. What more is there to love? There is nothing else that you need to know about this game other than everything that JJ just said. It will take you some time. If you know the kind of games I like, they're all going to take you some time. But get the upgraded components. It's worth it. Or the upgraded boards and everything. And it's just a lot of fun. You are trying to colonize your board, and there are different spaces that give you different bonuses. So you really have to decide which route am I going to take to colonize underwater, and which bonuses do I want to get to try to get going what I'm doing here. And just some interesting choices and just a lot of fun. Underwater Cities.
Excellent. Well, I'm not going to jump on the bandwagon. I was already there. This is also my letter U game. Absolutely. For me, like I said at the top of the U's, there was one game and then there was everything else. And that one game is Underwater Cities. I think it's fantastic for all the reasons both JJ and Babe have already said. Just throwing it out there, just to separate it a little bit from Terraforming Mars. It has a different mechanism for the way you play the cards. And I really like the mechanism here. So basically, there's 3 different colors, okay? And you're going to have like each side of the board is one of these 3 colors, and your cards are also one of these 3 colors. And if you match the card to the space you play to, you get to do both. And if you don't, you only get one of them. So it's really interesting trying to do the most efficient thing that you could possibly can, even though it might not be the most efficient thing you possibly can. And it works both ways. Like sometimes I'll pick a color based on the card so I get both actions, even though I probably should have done something else. Or I'll go the other way is I will sometimes not match them because the action I need is just so important and powerful at the moment. But either way, you're not really, maximizing that engine. So it has a really cool, almost a deck builder-ish, where you're trying to get the cards to play the colors, to do the actions that you want to do. I really enjoy that part of this game. And I just want to say, I think this is probably the best heavy-ish 2-player game in the world. I would hesitate to bring this out with 4. I have hesitated to bring this out with 4 because it's a long game. I'd say it rivals Terraforming Mars, if not possibly longer.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
But for 2 people, first of all, there's a special main board just for 2 players. So it's basically the same game within half the time. And this is not one of those like Ares Expedition to Terraforming Mars half the time. I just mean you get the same full experience in half the amount of time because every player is just going to add the same amount of time to this game. Now, I think it's fantastic. I will play it with 4, but it's one of those things where like I need everybody to understand this is going to be a while. And if everybody's fine with that, then cool, I'm in. But this is when we go, all right, who's got a time limit tonight? Anybody? It's that kind of game. But I think it's fantastic too. Steven, validate all 3 of us.
All right. So we crossed over with the geek at Star Wars Rebellion. We crossed over with the geek at Terraforming Mars. We crossed over with the geek at Underwater Cities. Of course, the highest rated U game on BoardGameGeek. And so that wraps up ST and U. But you know what? We had a lot of crossover, right? So this video must be short or something. Let's throw some bonus content in. What's a bonus content?
Yeah.
All right, let's play a game. You guys want to play a game?
Sure.
You want to play a game?
Is it Underwater Cities?
All right, Saul. I'll play Underwater Cities.
It's a quick game. I have been thinking about doing board game quizzes, so I'm gonna do a 1 question just to see how it goes here, and it's just bonus content for people who are still here for our STU video. All right. So I'm gonna give you a category, and then I'm gonna start giving you facts, and if you think you know what it is, just say I know what it is, and you can guess. If you guess wrong, then you have to sit out 1 round waiting for the next fact so you can't guess again. And it's going to, the points are going to keep going down, sort of like reverse outburst. So here we go. We're going to just try this extra content. Why not? All right. So BoardGameGeek, we talk about it all the time. Every game in BoardGameGeek is assigned a unique number in the database. And just geek trivia. A lot of people know what number 1 is. Number 1 is D-Mocker. Right. So for 10 points, can you tell me what is BoardGameGeek number 2 from 1981?
I'll be patient and wait for the hints to start dropping.
For 8 points, I will add that the art is from Bob Pepper.
Who is Bob Pepper?
For 6 points, Bob Pepper's only other art credit on BoardGameGeek is Dark Tower.
Ooh, what is Dark Tower?
It has a very distinctive art style. For 4 points, in 2017, there was a re-implementation of this game.
2017.
Sounds interesting so far, whatever it is.
For 3 points, it was released along with 2 other re-implementations from a brand new publisher. 2017, brand new publisher, 3 re-implementations.
We are terrible at your game, Steve.
Nice. For 2 points, the publisher is Restoration Games, and the 3 newly released re-implemented games were Downforce, Indulgence, and Stop Thief.
Oh, Erock doesn't know what it is? I thought he was just...
It's a re-implementation. This game is re-implemented by one of those 3 games.
I go with Downforce.
Indulgence, and Stop Thief. And the last clue for 1 point is Dragons.
Smirg.
No, okay.
No.
It's did you guys know the game Indulgence, which may have been the first game from
we may actually still have Indulgence.
That is a reimplementation of Dragon Master, which is
Oh.
a very similar game, but it has the art from Dark Tower. That is the Board Game Geek number 2. You all get 0 points. Congratulations.
Hey,
I think you get 0 for knowing all that.
it was a tie.
I'm going to put some Bob Pepper artwork up right now
Who is
for you all
Bob
to
Pepper?
see.
It's so random.
You do the doctor.
Okay, I got some real news for y'all. Everybody go get a copy of Uno Flip because that is a very good U game. That is the theme of this video.
Well, excellent. So that's going to wrap up our SRTRU, our bonus content and recommendations. I have no idea why you're still here, but I thank you. I thank you for still being here. If you are enjoying our show, our series, all of our content, give us a thumbs. Subscribe to us. We're going to put a link to our Discord channel down below. Come and join us. We absolutely love to talk about board games all day long when we probably should be working. You know what I mean. But thanks again for joining us. I'm Eric here with Steven, Lloyd, JJ, and my babe, Tiffany, and we are Just Got Played. Thanks for coming in.
Bye.
Come on, kids, let's sing the alphabet. A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K, L, M, N, O, P, Q, R, S, T, U, V, W, X, Y, Z. Now I will never forget how to say the alphabet. That was fun.